Welcome to SELINTalks, podcast initiated by Selinclub. We're thrilled to welcome Dr. Anirudh Gupta, a leading Edupreneur, writer, and social crusader. Dr. Gupta is the CEO of renowned DCM Group of Schools, which has offshoots in various parts of North India and is a leading organization serving causes of education since 1946. He has been awarded numerous prestigious awards, including National Education Excellence Award by Global Leaders Foundation and Edupreneur of the Year by Assocham and Brainfeed. Dr. Gupta's remarkable work in education sector has made him a force to be reckoned with in India. His extensive experience and expertise in the field is valuable as we discuss various topics like Industrial Revolution 4.0, school education sector, how to promote entrepreneurship with students, leadership methods and styles, education and technology, and various more topics around that. We're excited to learn from his insights and experiences that he has to share with his inspiring stories. Yes, sir. So before we begin with your journey, the first question I would really like to ask is what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and what drives this passion about for education altogether?
Yeah. So I completed my studies in 1997. I specialized in environmental engineering. So the organization DCM Group of Schools was established way back in 1946. Probably it was India's first independently managed K-12 group of schools. So since my family had been engaged in this entire process, other than their other activities and areas of work, so since childhood, I have been, kind of privy to, how the schools are run, how the entire process of education is delivered. So in 1997, I took over the reins. Fine, initially very reluctantly because being from the technical side, I was not an academician. But since, the circumstances drove me to it, I will say. So declining all the lucrative business propositions and other areas, which were financially remunerative. So I willingly stepped into the shoes of an administrator. Fine. Initially, my vision was that, let me look into it, let me sort out few things, let me consolidate, let me put the system on an autopilot. And then eventually I like to pursue what I have been thinking all these years. However, right from the day one, I stepped into the shoes of an edupreneur, looking into the entire, working, administration, all the aspects of K-12 education. I realized it was quite challenging, as well as there was a lot of scope to do. And I believed, since I've been born and brought up in a cantonment, so there is a kind of a nationalist character, within us. So I realized that it's not just in the uniform that being a part of armed forces, you can serve the country and the nation and the society. So I think this was one of the areas where we could, actually serve the society and, serve the nation too. So I realized, there are a lot of areas, be the administration or the pedagogies or the operational aspect or the assessment aspect, human resource aspect, the training and the research aspect, So I identified a lot of areas. I pinpointed few areas where I realized that, we need to bring a paradigm shift. We need to, kind of reinvent the wheel and, see that, how best and, how differently we could do the things in a very professional manner. So the more I got into it, the more I started became, passionate about it, about the entire education process. And I realized how important it is for our country, especially developing nation like us, since education is the growth engine for the economy. So how important it is for the our society, and so I started working on it. So it became my passion, and eventually it became my mission. So now I'm 24/7, for the last 25 years almost non-stop. I've been without taking a break. I've been neck deep into this entire process of education. And we ventured into a few other areas also. And eventually, we achieved a lot of success. We could, create a niche, and we could pioneer a lot of new things, lot of new developments, researches, which nobody in India had ever thought of. So this is the, journey.
Wow. Very inspiring, actually.
Yeah.
25 years of no break.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. You mentioned that there were few challenges when you were transforming BCM group of schools. What were these challenges and how did you overcome them?
So, firstly, the very fact that the institutions, they have been into operations for almost, 5 decades.
Yeah.
People were almost glued to, or, they were tuned to a particular kind of functioning. Fine. So, there were people with very high notions, there were people who were just mute spectators. So, all kinds of people in every organization. And being a youngster, 21-year-old, suggesting changes, identifying the gray areas, which initially, nobody, whatsoever might be the position, people take it with a pinch of salt. Nobody takes it that, okay, we've been doing it like this for all these years. What is the need for change now? So convincing people, and I believe that persuasion is better than force. Fine. So persuading them, convincing them, let's try to do it this way. So first challenge was from the side of co-workers, the people, who've been there into the system for donkey years. Secondly,
Yeah.
with the kind of socio-economic background the institutions were operating, so bringing the parents on board, fine, was also not easy. For example, in 1997, we decided to change the school uniform from white to a colored one, a more fancy one, because
Yeah.
a very, very basic thing, I realized the tinge of shade of white were different from student to student. And I do not recollect that there was any other school in India which had, this fancy or a colored uniform. So I thought that let there be, a more uniformity, and let there be more, vibrancy, when we look at the child, the outlook has to be better. Fine. So I changed it. Fine. All right. So I changed it, and it was, though a tough call, but eventually we could, bring them on board. Likewise, the a lot of things, right from the assessment systems to the very fact that, there used to be a one monitor in a class.
Yeah.
Fine. So I said it's not correct. There has to be, multiple, students in a leadership role. There has to be a separate for eco drive champion, a discipline monitor, uniform monitor. So I believe in distributive leadership. Fine.
Yeah.
Then there was a concept of annual function. Fine. I said, why one annual function only, when only the selected few students are showcased before the parents or the guest? Every student should get a chance to come onto the stage and showcase his or her latent abilities. So I said that every child has to participate in every event. Fine. So then there was a concept of the students who used to stand first, second, third in a class. They used to be given the prizes. I said, no. I mean, children who are very honest, children who are cooperative, children who are regular, children who are tech savvy. So we should award all those students also, not just that, based on the marks we are awarding the top 3 students. So there were a lot of, such kind of small issues, which I looked into, and eventually we transformed the entire system, all the stakeholders, how the students were conducting themselves, how the staff was, engaged in the entire process, and, mindset of the parents. Fine. And of course, we brought a lot of technology into it. There were a lot of, softwares and equipments which were brought into the system. So we worked out on the whole lot of transformation process.
Yeah. You talked about distributive leadership among students. What is your leadership style? Because you're running group of schools, and there must be a lot of hats that you have to play around. So, what actually signifies your leadership style?
Yeah, so Shruti, I believe that it's very important to decentralize. Fine.
Right.
Sometimes what happens that we give responsibility and keep the authority with us. But I do it other way. I give the authority and keep the responsibility with me. Fine. I don't want to become a banyan tree beneath which nothing survives. Fine. So we have to lead from the back, but if there is a requirement of the situation, you have to of course lead from the front. But my style of leadership is that I want to empower people, I want to bring them to the fore, I want to capacitate them, I want to give them authority. Fine, that is how we are able to decentralize. Fine, sometimes we falter, and everything like is coming onto your platter. so
Yeah.
so I think it's very, very important to understand that leader is a leader who creates leaders. Fine.
Wow.
So that's how I look at this entire leadership role.
Very interesting take on it, because lot of us, and I think that's a very common notion in human, all of us, that we should be leading, and like you said, we give the responsibility but take the authority. It should be other way around. It's very,
Yes.
very interesting take on it. You have, as I said, you have various roles as a CEO of BCM group of schools and member of various committees and organization as an edupreneur. How do you balance these roles all
I
throughout?
think time management, fine. Planning early. All
Yeah.
right. So I am running almost a dozen odd NGOs. Then I am the not to head of FICI. I also chair
Okay.
the PhD Chamber of Commerce, and I am on board trust of a lot of government, non-government, private organizations, and I'm a writer also, and
Yeah.
I'm a senior journalist also. So I think it's very important to do the time management. Fine, plan early. So I plan my schedule almost 1 month in advance. Fine, there can be some kind of changes, or maybe some exigencies, or there can be a change of schedule later on, but I plan it early. And as I said, I decentralize. There is a specific vertical coming to me. There's a specific guy who's looking into the NGOs, who's looking into the sports management, who's looking into education, who's looking into the various areas. So one is the human resource management, time management, and taking fast decisions. All right.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important, and one has to see that we have to utilize our time in the most productive way. So here I like to discuss the concept of Sita. You know, so Sita is like a space, energy, emotions, time, and action. Fine. Space, energy, emotions, time, and action. Fine. So I believe, Sita should not be compromised. We should not, get into unwanted information. Sometimes we keep watching videos which are not relevant to us. We keep, talking about people. I mean, we are into a lot of unproductive, wastage of time. So
Right.
I believe that we should not waste, our emotions, our time, our action. So in case we compromise on that, then we lose focus. Then Lakshman gets affected. Lakshya pe man nahi lagta. Fine.
Oh,
So I mean, that's the way I look at it.
very interestingly put, actually. Simplified and manageable to be understood very normally, like, in a layman language also.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 20, let's just say about running so many years into operation and everything, there's a lot of disruptions that has happened throughout time with technology, with numerous things that has come into education. But right now, the major, let's just say, concern maybe is around the AIs and everything that has happening in the, in the technology wise, and it is kind of affecting the education entire sector as well. What do you think, according to you, and coming from a such rich experience, how do you think the future of education looks like from now on?
I think technology is like a double-edged weapon. Fine. In the last few years, post-pandemic, one thing is very clear that, education can't be viewed separately than technology. Fine. It's an era of edtech. It's
Yeah,
a it's an era of emerging technologies. Fine. So the sooner we realize it that it's imperative. We can't visualize the future of education without thinking about technology. So there are few things which, like, especially as I said, post pandemic, they are a welcome move, I will say. Fine. They have made our job easy.
yeah,
Fine. A lot of new assessment tools, AI based, a lot of edtech platforms which are actually, helping in understanding the conceptual aspect of various topics, very well. All right.
yeah,
So the ERP systems, fine. So there are a lot of gadgets, which are very handy for various stakeholders. So I think technology is here to stay. Fine. And I believe that, digitize or perish. Fine. So where all the fields, maybe automobile, hospitality, healthcare, manufacturing, where, I mean, they all have adopted technology much earlier. I feel it has come to the education sector only in the real sense during the COVID times. Fine.
correct. Yeah,
Otherwise, I used to see even the school head or the teachers, educators, promoters, they were very shy of using technology. And
mhm,
teachers being very, very apprehensive that the technology might replace them in the classroom. But that was not
yeah,
the case. Technology is a tool. So it depends on us that, whether we master technology or become slave of technology. Fine. That all depends on that how we look at it and how we use it. Fine. So I think we can't ignore the fact that we are talking about metaverse, we are talking about IoT, we are talking about design thinking, blockchain, big data. So this is an era where, I mean, and like, from the industrial revolution 1 to 2 to 3, and this is the industrial revolution 4, which is an era of emerging technology. So anything, maybe as a housewife or as a parliamentarian or as a school head or as a parent or as a child, I think technology is here to stay. And it has made our life easy. Even in the new national education policy, there is a focus of the that we need to embed technology in all the operations. It might be academic or administrative or operational. So I think there are a lot of jobs which have been made easy. We are saving a lot of time. There is a real time data coming to us, and we are able to make a lot of data driven decisions. Like, for
yeah,
example, small thing, a teacher is delivering some lecture or explaining some particular topic. Now, how do we ascertain that whether the children they have or the student they have understood that topic or not? So here I have a tool to just have a small exercise, and I will get to know that, okay, how many percentage of students have understood this topic, so that whether to revise it, whether to reinforce it, or whether to move forward. Fine. So likewise in assessments nowadays, earlier we used to have the open textbook assessments. I think
yeah,
that time is not very far off where we'll be having internet based assessments, where the children will be able to use internet, while attempting the exam. So technology is a wonderful tool, but whether we use it or misuse it, fine. Another aspect is that, as I was talking about Sita, so I think it's very important to sensitize all the stakeholders on the right usage of technology. And the school promoters and the edupreneurs also need to understand that technology should not merely be a showcase.
yeah,
Technology has to be, embedded deep into the system. Fine. And we have to be hands on with technology. Fine. We can't keep a person to check my emails.
yeah,
Fine. So it's very important to sensitize everybody that, how do we use the technology, find what information is relevant to us, what information is not relevant to us, how do I segregate or how do I ascertain, that aspect? And then, once I have that information, how do I apply that information? Fine,
Yeah.
it's like, difference between the acquisition of knowledge and then application of knowledge. So,
Very true.
technology, I think, is a great thing. What has happened to the education sector in the recent times, and it's evolving very fast. Like every day there is something new coming to us, and a lot of new research and development taking place. And I even, thought about various aspects. That whether the physical schools are going to be even relevant decade or so down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, when the artificial intelligence, suppose it takes over the human intelligence, how is going to impact our working? How is it going to impact the entire learning aspect? So, though there is no definite reply or response to that as of now, but I think we all have to think about it. We have to start, ideating that, okay, this can be possible, this is possible. So it's very important for us to take into cognizance, all the technological advancements that are happening around us.
Yeah, very, very, very nicely explained also, because I think as humans, the first reaction is to get scared of anything that is new.
Correct.
That comes from a very primitive way of thinking, but eventually we do warm up to things and work towards it.
Correct.
As an entrepreneur, and like you said, there are so many roles that you've played. How do you encourage entrepreneurship among students, and what are the programs or initiative that you have introduced to foster the entire entrepreneurial mindset among students?
I think, Shruti, if we look at the last few years, fine, the government of India initiating things like Make in India, you
Yeah,
know, Digital India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, fine. Uh, as a generation, our aspiration to take our country into the League of Developed Nations, fine. Are competing with the one in Korea, Germany, Japan, China, fine. So how do we tide over it, and how do we actually realize the vision of shining India and incredible India and make in India? So
yeah,
I realize that it's very important to have an entrepreneurial mindset. Fine. For example, there is a batch of 40 medical students. They are studying in the same college from the same doctor. Now, one becomes Dr. Naresh Trehan. He opens Medanta and, all these kind of big institutions. And one doctor, same degree, same qualification, is just doing a OPD and has been operating out of a small clinic for his entire life.
yeah,
What is the difference? Their qualification skills, their knowledge is the same.
yeah,
Fine. I think the difference is the entrepreneurial mindset. That is what we need to create if we want, India to compete with the rest of the world in terms of manufacturing, in terms of research, fine, in terms of patents, fine. We have more number of doctorates, graduates in America. Still, our contribution to worldwide patent has been less than 1%.
yeah.
So I think this is one area where we need to focus on. And I'm happy to share that we have set up India's first school of entrepreneurship for kids. And we've named it Yes School, Young Entrepreneur School, where you can see a class 4 or 5 child, participating in pitching festivals, participating in, ideate festivals, coming up with some wonderful business ideas. And the way we have planned, linking their ideas, working on them, appointing a mentor, then linking it to the industry, then, giving them seed money. It's that, the students, coming out of these colleges and universities, their skills are not matching with the requirement of the industry. Fine. Industry is, talking about the shortage of the skilled manpower, and the youth is talking about unemployment. So there has to be a kind of, orientation,
Yeah,
between the skills of the students coming out of the institutes and need of the industry. There has to be an alignment.
right.
So that has to start, from the school itself. All
Very
right.
true.
So
Yeah.
we have set up this Yes School in Ludhiana, where I mean, apart then, whatever traditionally the school has to offer in terms of content or in terms of learning, our focus area is entrepreneurship. Fine. So we've created an entrepreneurship development cell there. And right from class one, we have devised a special curriculum for that. So right from class one, we are, sensitizing them to this area of entrepreneurship, and we've seen some wonderful results, and we're bringing them a lot of industry on board, and we kind of working on a lot of student startups also. So this is, I think, the future of education. If India has to reach that level very high on the pedestal in the world, so we
Yeah.
need to create these young entrepreneurs who can think differently, who can change the way the businesses operate in a country, who can work on the whatever problems we have in the society and find out some solutions, and eventually develop those solutions into products. Fine.
Yeah.
So this is our main focus area where we've been working for the last few years. And I think, entrepreneurship in education is extremely important, so much as technology. So we are happy that, we are having the right mix of entrepreneurship, technology, value education, because education without values is also very dangerous.
Yeah.
So we've been very carefully crafted, the entire scheme of studies, and we are trying to pass them on to this young generation.
Very true. Last but not the least, because I know first of all, I want to thank you for taking out time for us to be here. It has been an amazing conversation. One thing that I want to ask is that what from where do you inspire all of this to be more? What inspires you to be more?
Uh, I think that what matters in life is what you leave behind. All
Yeah,
right. So, not in terms of money or resources, in terms of your values, in terms of legacy, in terms of how many lives you impacted.
yeah,
Fine. So my take on it has been that, I mean, let's inspire more and more people. Let's help, the underprivileged, downtrodden in the society, and let's be very happy about, it's a matter of, do's and don'ts. Most
yeah,
of the time we are looking at the, haves and have-nots. Fine. So
right,
whether we are looking at the glass full or glass empty, so whatever God has given you, you should be very thankful to the God, and whatever way you can help the people, help the society, you experience the joy of giving. Fine, that is what comes back to you. Fine, and that is what keeps us sustaining and keeps us growing. There are days when we feel totally drained.
yeah,
Sometimes it's not go as per your plan. Fine. Then again, we regather our energies. Fine. And forge ahead. Fine. So it's like a kind of self motivation mechanism. Fine. It's very easy to say that so and so person inspires me, or this particular celebrity inspires me. So I think you have to be your own inspiration. Fine. And you have to see that, okay, what are your priorities in life? What do you want to
yeah,
achieve? Fine. What do you want to leave behind? Fine. So there are two lines in Urdu that माना के जमी को गुलजार ना कर सके हम, कुछ कांटे तो कम हो जिधर से गुजरे हम. Fine.
yeah,
So let's keep doing whatever we can do for the society. Most of the times we think that, okay, the system is not going to change. We are cribbing most of the times, and we are not taking initiative. So as Mahatma Gandhi said, that be the change you want to see in the world.
yeah,
So let's keep impacting life in whatever way, whatever manner, we can help people around. We can help the students, and I always tell all the school promoters, edupreneurs, people, that whatever objective be there of running these educational institutions, fine, might be doing it for charity, you might be doing it for business, you might be doing as a part of corporate or a municipality or a trust or the government. Fine. I mean, let's not compromise with the learning of the students. Fine. And I also tell all the teachers, educators, one thing that this profession might not be the most remunerative profession in the world. Fine, you might
Yeah.
not be making a lot of money, but God tells you that you take care of my children and I'll take care of yours. Fine. So if you are a good, dedicated, sincere teacher, I have seen, your kids are doing extraordinary well. And that is
Yeah.
what, I mean, how you get back from the nature. So one has to keep motivating oneself.
Wow. Would you say this is the message, like a message to our viewers as well?
I think this is what I like to say. One should have never say die approach. Fine. Don't get disillusioned. Fine. If something has not worked out, work on plan B, work on plan C. Fine. The very fact that, we've got this life God has given us, let's celebrate life. Let's be happy about whatever we have. And if there are problems, note down your problems. Just see that the problems which are in your control, which you can kind of sort out, and there might be problems which you cannot sort out. I mean, just put those problems in the locker and forget about those problems.
Yeah.
See the problems which you can handle. Fine. And be sincere, have good intentions, about the people around you, about your job. Fine. It's very important to align your job with work and purpose and higher purpose. A lot of people will just do job, few will do work, few will align
Right.
their work with the purpose, and some will go up to the higher purpose. So let's try to achieve that higher purpose in whichever place, whichever position we are, and I think God will be kind.
Yeah. I'm kind of moved by the conversations, honestly. Thank you so much for
Most welcome.
taking our time and delivering such an amazing knowledge, because I think a lot of that you shared and the work that you've been doing is going to inspire a lot of others to, kind of move into the same path. Like you said, you should never compromise on the education of the students and the takeaway of the students apart from whatever is happening. And being in, adversities that you have told us, it's an incredible job that you're doing.
No, thank you, Shruti. It was long overdue. So thank you very much. And you guys are also doing amazing work. Keep doing good work. And if we can chip in any manner, we're always
For
there.
sure. For sure. Thank you so much, sir. It has been an honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti. God bless. Take